ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनच्छलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणद्वैता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय पंच कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद्रघुनाथ स्वामी नाम्ने नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनकारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So thank you all for coming. Hopefully you had a blissful Janmashtami and Srila Prabhupada Appearance Day celebrations. And you are re-energized. Your efforts to take shelter of Guru and Krishna, which are the two rails of the track on which our spiritual life progresses. Guru Krishna Prasad, to the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion on the Srimad Bhagavat. We are still continuing on the pastimes of Samudra Manthan. While the Samudra Manthan itself, that particular Leela of the churning of the milk ocean has concluded, that particular saga hasn't ended. Why it hasn't ended? Because the original purpose for which this whole conflict started hasn't been resolved. And what was the big problem? The big problem in the material world is the struggle for resources. Who is controlling so that they can enjoy? And in the material world, especially in the Bhur Bhuva Swaha and the lower planetary system, this whole struggle is seen as the struggle between the Devatas and the Asuras. While generally the Devatas we appreciate because of their allegiance to Vishnu, because of their behavior generally in line with the principles of Dharma, it is very difficult to find within the three worlds living entities who have actually transcended the material world and have transcended a desire to enjoy the opulences that material nature provides at a material level. So, in that regard, that drive to control, to enjoy, is not very different in the Bhur Swaha all the way up to the Devatas. There may be a few exceptions of those who are very, very spiritually advanced, but generally, even the Devatas are controlled by predominantly by Sattva Guna. But obviously, Rajas is there. If there is no Rajas, then there will not be a drive to fight, there will not be a drive to control, there will not be a drive to enjoy. Pure goodness is not found in this material world. Pure goodness is actually the platform of transcendence. So the Samudra Manthan pastime has concluded, and after that pastime happens, the demons and the devatas clash again, because the whole purpose of this Samudra Manthan activity for the devatas was so that they can get power by which they can regain control over the worlds that they had lost control over. And of course, that was aligned with the wish of Lord Vishnu, because Lord Hari, being the maintainer, wants to make sure that the universe is functioning, the system of dharma is functioning. The primary difference between the devatas and the demons is, while both of them may still be attracted to the material world, the devatas take shelter of Vishnu, follow dharma, follow the process, and protect the process and its execution, which is what makes them devotees. While as the demons, for them it doesn't matter what dharma is, they will use dharma where it suits them to acquire power, or where it doesn't suit them, they will transgress dharma for their own enjoyment, for their own acquiring of opulences, etc. So this is a continuous struggle. The struggle between devatas and demons is not something that just happens in the higher planets. It happens on Earth also. There are humans who are devata-like in their qualities. There are humans who are demon-like. Of course, in Kali Yuga, you cannot expect too many devata-like individuals. But the struggle is there, and we can see it. So in the last chapter, we discussed, in the 10th chapter, we discussed how the devatas and the demons clashed almost immediately. In fact, the demons almost immediately getting frustrated by their not getting the object of their desire after all the trouble of churning the milk ocean. They attacked the devatas. It was a huge fight. Towards the end of the last chapter, when we discussed, we heard how the demons headed by Bali Maharaj, when they realized that they are unable to overcome the power of the devatas through face-to-face combat, just through the force of their strength and valor, they resorted to deceitful means. They started using various kinds of mystical arts, bewilder the devatas and overpower them. So this is the nature of the demons. When they realize they cannot deal with their enemies straight, then they will use all kinds of demoniac manners. Sometimes through projecting negative energies, by doing black magic, by doing various things, illusory tricks. Demoniac individuals will try to subvert the forces of good, the dharmic forces. So they launched a massive illusory mystical attack on the devatas. And the devatas, for a while, pretty overwhelmed. They were really struggling to deal with this kind of a negative attack. And they took finally shelter of Lord Vishnu. Save us, save us. And this is towards the end of the previous chapter. And Lord Vishnu then dispelled with his transcendental potency all these negative energies. And the Lord personally appeared on the scene, on the back of Garuda. We had this beautiful fight. It is said the Lord killed 4 demons. First, he killed Kalanemi, who was riding a lion, and then after that, the Lord killed Mali, Sumali, and Malyavan. And he beheaded all of them with his Sudarshan. So when all these demons, these 4 demons were killed, Lord Vishnu came, he dispelled all this illusion, the Devatas. The Lord actually rejuvenated the Devatas. The Bhagavatam in this particular chapter, chapter 11, says, by the grace of the Lord, the demigods headed by Indra and Vayu, the Bhagavatam says, Prabhupada translates, he says, they were brought back to life. It looks like they were pretty crushed by the power of the demons, especially these negative energies. And when they got up, they were enlivened again by the grace of the Supreme Lord, and then they were so energized by the Lord that they had a go with full energy against the demons. Indra was so angry and ferocious, and being rejuvenated, he took his thunderbolt, his Vajra in his hand, and he was charging at Bali Maharaj. All the demons became very, very scared. They were running helter and skelter. Bali Maharaj was well prepared. Laden with all kinds of weapons. He came in front of Indra. Deal with him. Indra at that point was so angry. He was chastising Bali Maharaj. He said, just wait, you rascal, you tried to overcome us with all these illusory potencies. Just like sometimes a cheater, he will blind a child, cover the child's eyes and take away and steal his possessions. Similarly, you tried to blind us through your mystical powers. But don't you know, we are the Devatas, we are the masters of mystical powers. And even though he was pretty overwhelmed, he was speaking, there was big things. All you demons, again and again, you try with your mystical powers to come and occupy the heavens. But your demoniac plans will never be successful. This whole universe is run based on the system set up by the Supreme Lord. You cannot overcome this system and establish yourself in heavenly planets simply by brute force. No, not possible. So many times demons have tried by brute force to occupy heaven. Rather than coming to heaven by performing dharmic activities, by collecting the necessary punya currency. So to go to heaven, dollars don't work, rupees don't work. You have to pay in currency of punya. You're not accumulating punya. You want by brute force through mechanical means you want to penetrate the upper planets. You think by mechanical means you can even cheat the cycle of birth and then achieve liberation. None of this is going to be possible. People like me, Indra says, who are in charge here, will push you down and crush you and send you to the lowest regions of hell. Because previously also, there are many other leelas where many demons made attempts to attain heaven. When in Ramayana at one point, Ravana tried to make a staircase to heaven. Obviously, it was not made of bricks and cement, whatever some subtle staircase he tried to make. There are so many of these pastimes of this king Trishanku, through the powers of the demons and the Shukracharya, I think the Shukracharya was trying to push him heavens with his power, and from Indra it was pushing him down. You're not qualified. You don't have visa. We have to endorse your visa. Once you pay in the currency of Punya, then we will give you entry pass, and your entry will be only as valid until the date that you have paid. If you cannot top up, once your prepaid is over, Shine Punne Marta Lokam Vishan. You have to fall down. So Indra was chastising Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj actually, even though he's the leader of the demons, being born in the dynasty of the Asuras, was being the great grandson of Prahlad, was also familiar with the principles of spiritual understanding, even though he was, leading the Daityas and how to say, espousing the agenda of the Daityas in his role as the leader of the Daityas. So, teach you all a lesson. I'm going to, just like I've been pushing all the Daityas down, I'm going to crush you and throw you down, and you along with all your relatives and friends are going to be destroyed and crushed. And Bali Maharaj, he looks at Indra and like, yeah, what kind of talk he's doing? Devatas are supposed to be devotees who are supposed to be advanced in spiritual knowledge. What is he talking? He's talking like a demon. I will do this. I am powerful. I will crush you. Like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, na? This is how sometimes the demons say, I am happy. I am going to win. I am going to enjoy. This is the kind of mentality of the Zen. Bali Maharaj quickly gives a short Bhagavatam class to Indra. He says, oh, really? You think you are the doer? Don't you know? Everything is arranged through the influence of the Kal, by the will of the Supreme Lord. Based on everybody's karma, everything is being dispensed. So victory, defeat, everything will come by karma. We all are just playing out our karmas. And those who understand the way material energy runs, prakritehe kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti is running under my supervision. Everything is executed by the modes of material nature. People who are bewildered by Maya think they are the doers. Ahankara vimudhatma karta ahamiti man. So those who are learned, they neither get too excited when they win, nor do they get too dejected when they lose. So why don't you just do your job and fight, and I will fight. Don't get too overexcited. You are supposed to be a devotee, Don't embarrass yourself by speaking like this. You don't seem to be very learned. Probably you didn't read Bhagavad Gita today morning before you came for fighting. Probably you didn't chant your rounds. That's why you are talking like a karmi rather than a devotee. Don't have this ahankar that you are the controller, you are the enjoyer. See all these sages who are here, they are feeling sorry. Ye kya bol raha hai? We're talking. So of course, Bali Maharaj knew because he was learned. But generally in this world, we will see this, even as devotees, because we are sadhakas, because we are not yet purified. Sometimes for us also, when we go out into this world, sometimes we get overwhelmed by lower modes and we behave in ways which are below the standard of what we preach. Correct? Because our teaching is so high, it is very challenging to always display behavior which is aligned with the teaching. And then on the opposite side, there are those demoniac, not so faithful individuals who quickly latch on to any mistake which they see the character of the devotee. See, you said you're devotee, why you're behaving like this? Oh, you're devotee, why you're saying like this? So devotees have to be very careful. both in their behavior and also in what they say. Judge not lest ye be judged. So after rebuking Indra in this manner, Sri Bali Maharaj was so powerful. Other than Indra, very, very powerful amongst the Devatas, the king. Nobody else was a match for Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was extremely powerful. After chastising Indra, immediately Bali Maharaj started shooting arrows. Special type of arrows which are known as the Narakas. Showering Indra with these arrows. And he continued to chastise Indra. When a devotee is judged and chastised like this by a demon, obviously it's very embarrassing for the devotee, and it also, especially for a sadhaka, it hurts. Oh, I think I am so saintly, but actually, this person is finding fault with me. But understanding, because he's a devotee nonetheless, understanding that actually what Bali Maharaj is saying is correct. Can realize actually what is. So, even though he got hurt, he didn't answer by way. What are you going to answer? Because that is the whole philosophy. What are you going to tell him? You're wrong. so he had to humbly gulp down his own ego and continue to fight. So there are also, he took in his hand his infallible Vajra. He stopped the parley of words. He released that invincible thunderbolt towards Bali, wanting to crush and kill Bali. And that blow was very, very powerful. Even though Bali is very powerful, Bali wasn't powerful enough to stand a blow from Vajra. They said Bali Maharaj immediately fell down from his carrier. They said when Indra, as if, he said in previous times, mountains would fly. And sometimes when mountains would fly, the Shastras say in olden times, sometimes they would fly, go around and create a big chaos. We can imagine, right? Just imagine mountains flying around in the sky and landing here and there, what kind of a commotion they would create. So Indra sometimes would be so irritated by the mountains flying, he would throw his Vajra and chop off the wings of the mountains. So the Bhagavatam says, as if the mountain's wings are cut off, similarly, Bali Maharaj was stopped midair and he crashed on the ground. Practically unconscious, almost dead. He didn't die, but was almost dead. When this happened, one of the very close accomplices of Bali Maharaj, known as Jambasur, another very, very powerful, immediately being so close and friendly with Indra, sitting on a lion, he charged towards Indra. They said he had a mace in his hand. With that mace, he gave a tight blow. Indra on his shoulder, and he also struck Airavat, Indra's elephant. Indra's elephant, very, very powerful. But despite that, Jambasur was so powerful that with one blow of his mace, Indra's Airavat started reeling. He was so confused and aggrieved. He actually fell down on his knees. Then he fell across, practically unconscious. So Indra had to unmount from Airavat. Even though Indra wasn't so affected by the blow, but Airavat couldn't take it. Indra's strength is the strength of 10,000 Airavat elephants. That is the power of Indra. So Indra was now on the ground without a carrier. He was not knowing what to do. Indra's charioteer by the name of Matali, he saw the situation. He understood, oh, this is a problem. So I have to quickly come to the service of my master. Immediately Matali, even without waiting for instructions from his master, immediately got a chariot ready with 1,000 horses. Immediately appeared on the scene swiftly. and Indra jumped off Airavat and got onto this chariot. Bali Maharaj was very impressed. Right? A good driver he has. This driver was so alert. As soon as this happened, even before I could attack Indra, he came to the scene with the chariot. He got Indra on board and he's up and running. So, the Bhagavatam says Bali Maharaj started appreciating. Sorry, not Bali Maharaj. Jambasur starts appreciating that this Matali is so expert. But at the same time, he was attacking Matali because he wanted to stop Matali from providing Indra with his chariot. The great force, Jambasur, he sent a trident of blazing fire towards Matali, and Matali was hit by that trident. Somehow, it is said, even though he was in great pain, he managed to keep the situation under control, take charge of the chariot, and get Indra on board. So, in that way, all credits to Matali. He saved Indra from that very dangerous situation. And then, as Indra regained his poise, it is said he took his thunderbolt and severed the head of Jambasur from his body. So, Bali was down, Jambasur's head was chopped off. The news of the falling of these two demons traveled very fast. On the internet of the higher planets, Narad Muni quickly sent the message across to other powerful asuras. He went and told them, "Oh, don't you know?" He told Namuchi, Bala, and Paka. "Oh, you don't know the news? Bali is finished. Jambasur is finished. The Devatas are winning." They're like, "Oh, really? My God, we have to rush to help them." So Namuchi, Bala, and Paka, in great haste, they came to the scene of the battle. Started cursing Indra. "Oh, you useless fellow, you did this to our dear friends. Now just see what we are going to do." They all started discharging arrows and various weapons very quickly. It is said, Bala, this demon, 1,000 arrows he shot in rapid succession. One arrow hitting each horse out of the 1,000 horses of Indra. The other demon, Paka, he attacked Matali by 200 arrows. So all kinds of things were happening. They were trying to overwhelm Indra on his chariot. Namuchi, the third demon, he directly attacked Indra just as Bala and Paka were trying to overwhelm the chariot. They said 15 very powerful golden feathered arrows, which were roaring like a cloud thunder. They were roaring through the sky. Simultaneously, all other demons, they all converged on Indra and just surrounded him with an incessant shower of arrows. Indra was so covered over from all directions by arrows and demons that practically the other devatas couldn't even see where is Indra. For a moment, the devatas felt we have no leader. What happened? We cannot even see where our king is. And they started lamenting, feeling that now Indra is finished. The Bhagavatam says the devatas started feeling like traders whose ship has been wrecked in the middle of the ocean. Prabhupada makes a very interesting comment in his purport on this. He says, it seems that even in the heavenly planets, there is trade going on ships. So these kinds of trading activities are not only happening on Earth, but also in heavenly planets. And they also sometimes have these kind of accidents in their ships. So basically, material problems are there everywhere, even on the heavenly planets. That makes an interesting observation. Of course, this whole pastime is testament to the fact. Go to heavens also, all these wars, conflicts, pain, frustration. Your standard of living increases. But Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, and the Tapatraya, Adibhautik, Adidevik, Adhyatmik. will never end unless one transcends the modes of material nature and realizes his constitutional position. That's why those who are intelligent are not so interested in elevating themselves to heavenly planets. They want to go to that place from where one never comes back. Yad gatva vrtante tadhamam paramam. So Indra, despite being so overwhelmed, he was able to counteract all that simultaneous attack on him. As if he was surrounded by a cage of arrows, he was able to disperse it and come out of it with his chariot, with his flag fluttering the sky, ascending into the sky, counteracting all this massive attack. He said he was shining like the effulgent sun at the end of the night. And when Indra saw, as he counteracted it, he saw how all the devatas are demoralized. And to restore the morale of everyone, he said, let me not wait anymore. He took his Vajra. And with his Vajra, he immediately cut off the heads first of Bala and Paka in front of all the other Asuras, his relatives. Bala and Paka were finished in no time. All the demons were again terrified. Then he turned his attention to Namuchi, because Namuchi was known as an especially powerful demon. There are many stories about Namuchi in the Puranas. We'll briefly mention something, but just so that you know. So many of these demons, the names that you hear here, the common demons, there are many, many pastimes across Puranas. It's not just this episode that their names come. Because they have such long lives as compared to our insignificant lifetimes that the Puranas are replete with various stories about them. Indra was so angry at Namuchi. Namuchi at the same time was roaring like a lion. He took a steel spear, which was decorated with beautiful bells and golden ornaments. He said, now Indra, you are finished. Force, he threw it towards Indra, hoping that it will slay Indra. But Indra is very expert. With his arrows, he counteracted the spear and he chopped off the spear even midair. And Namuchi's attack failed. And then Indra seized the opportunity and said, now is the moment I can slay this Namuchi. And he took his Vajra and with full force, he hit very hard on the shoulder of Namuchi with his Vajra, expecting Namuchi's head to be chopped off much the same way as he had just chopped off Bala and Paka's head. But something very astonishing happened. What was that astonishing thing? Despite the full force of Indra's Vajra, it is said the Vajra did not even pierce the skin of Namuchi. That Vajra, the Bhagavatam says, which had even killed a demon so much more powerful than Namuchi, such as Vritrasur. That same Vajra which had killed Vritrasur was unable even to put a small scratch on the skin of Chap. Shocked. How come this Vajra is not acting? He was petrified. Because he's relying on his weapon. What is he going to do if Vajra is not going to work? He doesn't have anything beyond that. He was wondering, is this original one or what happened to my Vajra? Suddenly it disappeared from all power seems to be gone. I have used this Vajra to kill Vritra. I have used this Vajra to chop off the wings of so many mountains. Mountains would fall down with a thud when I would chop off their wings. That Vritrasur, whose power was achieved through all the austerities of Twasta, Rishi, And so many other stalwarts I have vanquished with this Vajra. How come this lesser demon is not being killed? He was bewildered. He was thinking like this. This Vajra is practically like Brahmastra. And right now it is behaving as if I'm hitting him. Nothing is happening. What is this? He was so angry with Vajra. He was thinking, I want to throw away this Vajra. So this is how, this is the mind of materialistic individuals. Of course, there is not a typical ordinary materialistic person, but those who are attached, very quickly the mind swings from attachment to repulsion. First you see Vajra, suddenly, useless. Let me throw it away. Then suddenly, when Indra became very morose, suddenly from the sky, a disembodied voice came. Somebody spoke. Correct? Just like, Krishna was about to appear when Kamsa was driving Devaki on the chariot, a voice came, "Oh, Kamsa, you don't know that the eighth son of Devaki is going to kill you." Nobody knew who was speaking. So for Indra, a big voice came from the sky. And that disembodied voice is, Indra, this demon Namuchi cannot be killed by anything that is either dry or wet. Suddenly Indra remembered, Arya, true, I forgot. This Namuchi has a benediction. At one time, Namuchi had achieved a benediction from the sages that he cannot be killed in the day or the night. He cannot be killed by anything which is wet or dry. So he thought, pretty much like Hiranyakashipu, he thought, I am covered. Anything that will kill me either has to be wet or it has to be dry. So once I have asked for this benediction, I am safe. So he understood, oh, that is why my Vajra is dry. But if I make my Vajra wet, also no point, because nothing wet also can kill. So Indra started thinking, what to do. Finally, it is said, the Bhagavatam says, that Indra understood that the way to kill Namuchi is by using something which is neither wet nor dry. Now, what is neither wet nor dry? It is foam, Fenaka. Fenaka means foam. Foam. Foam, is it wet? Not really. Is it dry? Not really. The bubbly foam. So understanding that I can neither kill him with something wet or dry, I must use foam. So using a weapon made of foam, which was neither dry nor moist, Indra was able to sever the head of Namuchi. All the devatas are so happy. All the sages were so happy. They are all showering flowers and garlands on Indra. Vishwavasu and Paravasu, who are the chief of the Gandharvas, they were singing in happiness and kettle drums were being sounded and the Apsaras were dancing. Yes, 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 job done. Not only Bali is overwhelmed, but even Namuchi, this great, very powerful demon, has been vanquished and immediately energized. The other devatas, Vayu, Agni, Varuna, and all the others, they charged onto the demons, whatever were left, and they totally crushed them. They overwhelmed them to such an extent, it is just like lions slay deer in a forest. Ma saw that the Suras, the inhabitants of the lower planets, are being slain in wholesale. Then Lord Brahma told Narad Muni, please go and tell the Devatas, don't overdo this. You have to maintain the balance in the system. Don't overdo and kill them. Make them stop this fight. So Narad Muni came to the Devatas and he said that, Devatas, your job is done. You have vanquished the demons. You need to kill more. You have gotten the Lord's favor. You have gotten the favor of the goddess of fortune. You're getting back your kingdom. So please stop this fighting. So when the Devatas were advised by the big bosses, okay, fine, okay, we agree. Because great personalities like Brahmaji, Narada, the sages, and ultimately Lord Vishnu is looking at the situation from a much higher vantage point. So there are much more higher considerations, and it was not part of the universal plan that all the demons be slain. So finally, accepting the advice by Narad Muni, the Devatas stopped the fight, and there was a huge celebration amongst the Devatas. So the Devatas recaptured heaven finally after a long saga and a long wait. It was a very long wait. They were practically homeless wanderers for a long time until the Samudra Manthan episode happened. They got power, they drank Amrit, and even after that, it was, as we just discussed, a fair amount of struggle before they could get back their kingdom. So can you imagine? This is the nature of the material world. Despite Lord Vishnu's direct help, that's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manas Shasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Whether we are dharmic or adharmic, even for devotees, Prakriti Sthani Karshati, material world is not an easy thing. Sometimes as devotees, we have a very romantic idea, oh, just because I'm a devotee, everything is going to go very wonderful for me. Job will be wonderful, money will be wonderful, friends and relatives will be wonderful, I will be successful in everything because I am devotee. But material nature, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, as certified by the Lord, is not going to give up its characteristics just because we have some romantic idea of how I should be treated in this material world as a devotee. The Lord's plan for the material world is to keep it like that. And that is a healthy reminder to devotees to not become lax and to not become forgetful of the reality that the material world will always remain as a place of suffering. So after being vanquished, Devatas went back after winning, and the demons, Narad Muni came to them also. Narad Muni is a devotee, he wishes the welfare of everyone. He took Bali Maharaj, who was badly battered, and all the other demons. He took them to a mountain known as Ashtagiri, and for them to recuperate and regain their life. Shukracharya arrived there. Shukracharya is expert in the science of Sanjeevani mantra. He knows how to revive dead or almost dead individuals and make them hale and hearty again. He has the Sanjeevani Vidya. So he practically revived and revitalized so many of these soldiers, including Bali Maharaj and these other demons. And even though they were lost, they regained their life. Net, Indra got back his kingdom. Bali Maharaj was defeated. But even though Bali Maharaj was a demon, the Bhagavatam says, Bali Maharaj was very experienced and he knew the higher philosophy. So even when Bali Maharaj was revived by Sanjeevani Mantra, he was not very morose as what other demons would be. He could understand that everything had happened by the supreme plan of the Supreme Lord. That is why, following the philosophy that he himself told Indra and rebuked, understanding that philosophy himself, he did not lament. He remained sober and calm even as he was revived. And that is what Krishna says, no? Not Krishna, but in the Bhagavatam, there's this beautiful verse. Tattenu kampam susamikshmano punjanam evatma kripam vipakam Vridvagvapuhirvidadam namaste jive tayo mukti pade sudayava. This kind of tolerance of all the ups and downs of life, considering all this as arrangements of the Lord for my own purification, this consciousness is very important for a sadhaka as he continues to perform his devotional service to the Lord. That is what makes a devotee entitled to receive the Lord's mercy. Mukti pade sadaya bhak. So that is how this chapter ends. And in this way, this battle ends. So with this, the whole prayojan of the Samudra Manthan pastime is concluded. The next Leela is an extension of the Samudra Manthan pastime. Chapter next. And that next pastime is that wonderful pastime where Lord Shiva had a desire to see Mohini Murti. So it is linked to the Samudra Manthan pastime, but not directly a part of the Samudra Manthan pastime. It is said Lord Shiva wasn't there when Mohini Murti came here. I think he had already gone. Hey, Amrit has come. My job is done. Let me go and sit and chant. Correct? Lord Shiva is busy meditating on Sankarshan. He chants Ram Nam. So he probably must have thought, let me go and do my japa. The job is done. But meanwhile, this Mohini Murti appeared. So he didn't get a chance to see Mohini Murti. So that's a very beautiful pastime with very beautiful lesson. So we'll discuss that in the next class. Before we end the class, I want to mention one more interesting thing. So while, and this is with respect to the killing of Namuchi demon. So while here in the Bhagavad, this particular verse, it is mentioned that Indra figured out that I should use a foam weapon, and using the foam weapon, Namuchi was killed. Not much detail is given here, but in other Puranas, the way this killing of Namuchi is explained is that actually the killing of Namuchi was done by Lord Narasimha. How? They said Lord Narasimha appeared there and using a Sudarshan Chakra which was covered by foam. Using a Sudarshan Chakra covered by foam, the Lord chopped off his head. So Namuchi was killed by Lord Narasimha. So this pastime is mentioned in other Puranas. That Lord Narasimha appeared at that time and using a chakra made of foam killed Namuchi. So Lord Narasimha is famous especially to deal with demons who think they are too clever. Who ask for benedictions which are very so difficult that most of the devatas don't know what to do. So Lord Vishnu, Lord Narasimha, especially in this form of Narasimha, is especially reputed to take care of these over smart demons. So in that way, he was killed by foam. So sometimes you may think, oh, Prabhu, what is this nonsense? How somebody can die with foam? I know, when I was small, I would play with a foam gun. Bubbles would come out from this gun with soap water. I would play with them. How can this kind of foams kill anybody? So first time I heard, I was also thinking, this is a bit too far out. How can foam kill? Actually, for those who are familiar with the laws of physics, what to speak of foam? Even air can kill a person. Foam is still between air and water, right? Foam is still something between air and water. Do you know there are certain, even today in industries, there are certain techniques by which metals are cut with a highly pressured and focused water jet. We use our shower, right, for watering. It's quite pleasant when we take a bath in the early morning. But when that same water will be at very, very high pressure, it can actually cut through metal and rocks. That is the power. Just because it is water doesn't mean it is not powerful. The same thing is true for air. There was once a story, and this has happened many times. This is one of the dangers. Air, we think no, air is not so powerful. In India, this happened. This was told by a brahmachari to me. He saw this personally. So there was this person who was walking on the footpath. A huge truck. Some of these trucks, which have some trucks are so huge that their wheels are many feet high. Huge wheels. Was passing next to him. It is said one of the tires of the truck suddenly exploded, punctured and exploded. And this person was walking on the footpath. The truck was just passing on the road next to him. Just the force of the air from that blasted tire blew off the head of that person into bits. Because I think it was passing near his head as the tire was passing. Just through the pressure of the air coming from that exploding tire, that person died on the spot. What is the power of air under pressure? So we should not be too surprised that foam can do the job. The technology to produce Sudarshan Chakra with foam is Lord Vishnu's technology that we may not have figured out. But I just want you to, I'm indulging you just so that you can appreciate that these are not just some imaginary narrations. Any element can be used or weaponized with the right intensity, the right manner. So definitely, Lord Vishnu. With foam, we can imagine, right? If foam is very highly pressurized, what is Sudarshan Chakra? It is a chakra with such speed. So for it to have an effect of cutting. So that's what Lord Vishnu achieved. So even though it is not mentioned here, other Puranas mention this pastime. So I thought I will just mention this to you. That is how Namuchi was killed. Of course, all these demons, even though they were killed, they were revived again by Shukracharya. So that's also frustrating, right? The Devatas, just imagine all these things. फिर से आ गया ये. So why I'm mentioning this is don't be too excited to go to heavenly planets. Sometimes those who are neophytes, they think that, oh, Krishna said, even though you do a little bit devotion, you can achieve heavenly planets. Those who are serious about spiritual advancement, they are not too excited about heavenly planets. In fact, even when they go there, they are thinking, why I came here and wasting my time. Because in the same time that I'm spending here and not making any spiritual advancement on earth, I would have very quickly made advancement and got back to God. Here it is not as good as what was imagined. Still frustration. There's still this material desires are still there in my heart. Ego, my lust, my greed, conflict. Yes, the standard of living is much higher. Correct? Just like in India, of course, now India has evolved so much, but the past few decades, America was on its peak and India was still a poverty-stricken country. Nowadays, India can look US into the eyes and say, get lost. But those days were different. So the dreams of most Indians was, oh, for my goal of life is to settle in the US. So they think that that is the solution to all problems. When you go there, you realize, yes, overcame the problems which were there in India, but there you are faced with a new set of problems. Different kind of. So going to heavens is also something like that. Your standard of living may not be struggling for food, clothing, not have a 9 to 5 job. There are other challenges. So as we go across material planets, only the nature of the problems change. As long as the Bhagavatam says, as long as the mind is uncontrolled, as long as one is influenced by the modes of material nature, will always be disturbed and frustrated. So the real solution is to purify the heart, be satisfied. Atmanyeva atmanat tushtasthita prajnastadochyate. The way to be in steady consciousness is to find pleasure, the realization of the self as an eternal self. No other situation is devoid of frustration. Thank you very much for patiently listening.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Sridhar, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Bali Maharaj, he was not like a pure devotee similar to Prahlad Maharaj. He was always sided to demons and he was like activities were also all demonic, right?
It is not mentioned that all his activities were demoniac, but definitely he was the leader or the king of the Daityas. That is clear. So it doesn't seem that sometimes what happens, a person is born in a particular family, born in a particular situation, grew up as the leader. Even Prahlad Maharaj, after Hiranyakashipu was killed, the Lord asked him to become the leader of the Daityas. He was ruling over the Daityas. It is his throne only that Bali is sitting on. So because they are from that family, they are from that planetary system, they are from that situation, they are continuing in that particular setup, but doesn't mean in their heart necessarily, they have, as a king, as a Kshatriya, they want to expand their empire, they want to conquer over other planets. So they are doing that as a part of their Kshatriya dharma. So I have not heard about specific atrocities, or sinful activities that Bali Maharaj has performed. Bali Maharaj in his heart was very much blessed being in the line of Prahlad Maharaj. And that is particularly seen in his pastime of his taking shelter of Lord Vamana. How evolved a soul he was. Had he not been so evolved, he would not have the spiritual strength to surrender everything to the lotus feet of the Lord. Please understand, now in retrospect, we think, hindsight, oh, what was the loss for him? He got the favor of Lord Vishnu, he attained everything, he attained pure devotion, Lord Vaman became his doorkeeper. What happened even if he lost? Logically, we may think like that now. But when Bali was in that situation, Bali Maharaj, he didn't know what is going to happen later. He didn't know what his reward. Only at that point, the only thing he knew is Lord Vishnu has asked me, I must surrender everything to Lord Vishnu. He did that without any expectation. He did that with a sense of full surrender. Of course, he got rewarded. He didn't, neither did he expect it, nor did he demand it. So that's not easy. It's not easy. How many of us can do that? Even with the petty money that we have. We own the planet, the kingdom of the three worlds. It's not so easy. So that shows that he was internally very advanced in his consciousness. So that's why it happens. And we see this even in Kali Yuga. There are so many wonderful devotees, even in our own society. They are not necessarily born in families of devotees. They are born in difficult situations, sometimes in sinful families. We may not know, only the Lord knows why he puts certain great souls in specific situations and specific families, whatever that purpose may be. But ultimately, we can see from the activities of Bali Maharaj what was his character. how Lord Vishnu recognized his character and his full surrender, and he has become example. So that's why one may be born in a family of asuras, but one can show the character of a deva. Being born in the family of asuras, one may still be referred to as an asura, but not necessarily internally one is an asura. And the other way around also. Sometimes we may externally be devotees. Internally, one may have a very demoniac mentality. Hatred, all kinds of things against other devotees, try to pull them down, criticize them, manipulate them, cheat them. Sometimes it happens even within the society of devotees. One devotee exploits and cheats another devotee, schemes and does frauds. So as conditioned soul, sometimes we may portray ourselves as devotees, but internally one may have selfish, realistic motivations. So ultimately, it is our state of our heart, evolution of our consciousness determines, not just our external attire, what family, what institution one projects as his brand. So that is the real test. Real test is how one behaves in difficult situations, how one maintains his consciousness as he goes through. Okay, Prabhu, does that answer your question?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes. Okay. So thank you all very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta. I'll see you all next Saturday. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So-
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Shyamataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Kiraj, you made it. Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Arun, Sneha Mataji, Haribol. Sridevi
Hare
ji,
Krishna.
Bhaskar. Yeah, thank
Hare
you so
Krishna,
much.
Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hari Hari, Jai Ho, Bhaskar. What time is it there?
Morning 9 o'clock, Prabhu.
Shri Prabhu and family. Thank you. Thank you.